in the public meeting now that he must not say people are illegal when they seek asylum. This is a human right. Seeking asylum is not a crime.
MD, who is the Refugee Week Leader and Community Advocate. So I'll hand over to you now, MD. Thank you.
Hi, thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining us. It's been a huge privilege for me to join in this kind of platform and talk to the wise people more, who have seen the country for a long while. So in terms of my experience, I would say I'm really new. But today's I will be talking about the racism in the asylum system in the UK, being an asylum seeker myself. So I have divided my presentation in three parts. First part, I will talk about what is asylum seekers, and second part, I will talk about some common questions was being asked through the years and years to the asylum seekers from the community members, obviously not the good community members. And then thirdly, I would talk about a couple of real life examples about the hostile environment and the racism, structural racism asylum seekers are facing in this time. So please bear with me, and if you have any questions, we will have some time. I'll be really happy to answer any questions popped up. Just to introduce myself, my name is MD. I'm an asylum seeker. I came to Newcastle in 2018. I work for more than 14 organizations around the UK. I'm a Refugee Week leader and also advisory panel member for City of Sanctuary. And currently, I'm studying law in Northumbria University in scholarship. Okay, so just to begin with, what is asylum seekers? Asylum seekers, by United Nations definition, is someone who requests for sanctuary to be processed every year around the world. We have seen asylum seekers. So definitely, I mean, specifically, asylum seekers come to one country to another country for some reason, which could be life-threatening, which could be political reason, and there is thousands of reasons behind it. And just to clarify in this matter that asylum seekers, whoever is listening and whoever will be listening this my comments later on, asylum seekers not only come from France by Calais. There is a lot of asylum seekers in this country who come from different countries of the world. So every year, around 1 million people seek asylum around the world. Asylum around 2019. 4.2 million people seek asylum in 2019. This is a statistics from United Nations. And just to add with that, in 2019, UK had 34,354 asylum seekers in the UK. Just to add with that those asylum seekers didn't seek asylum in 2019. Those are running through a limbo or running through a hostile environment for years and years. And that is the amount UK has got in 2019 September. So history, I would like to go with the history of asylum seekers in the UK because people need to know about the history in the past. This is very important, that not to blame the people who come from third countries and seek asylum and telling them lots of questions. I'll come back to in a bit. So asylum seekers in the country, in the UK last 450 years. This is exactly 450 years people are coming in the UK seeking asylum. 1685, French people come and seek asylums in the UK. There's a lot of them. Jewish people came to settle down in 1665. Then in 1718, Roman Catholic came in the UK. 1914, Belgian refugees came in the UK in the First World War. Then 1939, Polish refugees came to the UK. Then 1945, Soviet Union, Romanian, and also Czechoslovakian, former Czechoslovakian and former Soviet Union people came to the UK to seek asylum. 1972, Ugandan people came. 1973, Chilean people came to seek asylum. So UK has got a huge, long history to give refuge to the people in this country. If you don't know that, if you should visit Durham Cathedral, where people used to come and seek refuge long time ago. That was very, very prominent place for the people to seek refuge. So still now they have that history. So why I'm talking about this history? Because people don't really know about the histories. Lots of people in the UK at the moment, their ancestors are probably one of those asylum seekers and they have forgotten about it. And they have always tried to blame us why we seek asylum. So there is some common questions actually I always all the time I face about asylum, seeking asylum in the UK, being a refugee leader because I go to lots of programs around the country. I was always being asked three common questions. That first question was it was right that Paramjit was mentioning about the creator of hostile environment. I would say reading about the history of this country, it started from the Labour government and then it's been stretched by Theresa May. She's the mother of hostile environment, I would say. She has destroyed so many families who came here as a student. She has destroyed so many families who was here in 2009 and 10 using the hostile immigration policy and deported them from this country who could be our assets now. So I hope you remember in 2015, Home Office, one of the specific example of that hostile environment and racism in the immigration was the billboard bans. You have seen that in the billboard, it was been saying that go home or face arrest. That means they're indirectly or directly saying you, if you're illegal, go away, go back to your country. So that was so humiliating. Nobody has challenged it. I think yeah, obviously I'm studying law. I will try my best in future if I can be a barrister. I will take them in the court. So the common questions which I was always being asked. The first thing is, why don't you go back home? That is the first question I always face. The answer is of that judging any individuals, because UK is the signatory country of Geneva Conventions, and UK knows the law, and telling these people by our politicians, I would mention one name specifically, Nigel Farage. Yes, he always talked about these kind of things. He's an hypocrite, I would say, in the public meeting now, that he must not say people are illegal when they seek asylum. This is a human right. Seeking asylum is not a crime. This UK is a signatory country. Being and prominent politicians in this country, I've seen lots of them are telling illegal these asylum seekers. So the first question was, why don't you go back home? We cannot go back home because there is a reason. There is a reason, and I cannot go back home because I have a life threat. So judging anyone, any individuals, just telling this word, I think it is a direct racism, and UK should recognize about. The UK government should recognize this, and UK government should put these specific terms in their book. This is called racism. Next thing, I always change this question as well. You asylum seekers come in our country and take all our jobs. That is very important things. I serve 14 organizations as a volunteer. I never ask for money. I give my expertise. I work for Citizen Advice. I work for Fire Service. I work for lots of organizations. I try to contribute for this community. If you put me away, don't give me any chance to be there for community, and you think that I will be doing everything, no, it's not going to be happening. You have to give me an opportunity. You have to let me flourish. You have to give me the opportunity to be there for community. I have opened a little health food bank during the pandemic. I have seen none of the people came out of this house. Before the pandemic, before the lockdown, I started doing that food bank using my bicycle, and I have dropped 700 food bags on my own initiative. So this is the thing that asylum seekers can do. But, obviously, this is a skin color. This is something like that we always face. So these are the couple of questions we've been asked most of the time. But the second thing is what I would really like to mention about it is about real life experience. I don't know how long I have got. Can you?
You're okay for now. Carry on.
Okay. So the real life example is I was being the reason for seeking my asylum. I'm revealing it to the public now. I was being rescued. I was being confined in a house, enslaved and trafficked in the UK. And I was confined in a house for 6 months. Then I was being rescued. So I was being primarily recognized as a victim of modern day slavery and trafficking. Again, UK was the signatory country to end slavery. So this is happening inside the UK, and the government doesn't recognize it. I provided so many evidences, even though that the police has dropped my case. There was injustice. And the reason behind it, I'm studying law at this moment, is that I will change those things up in future for the people like me. So injustice is on the system, is on the blood of our country. So I would say that we can talk about so many aspects, so many times about this kind of things, doing this kind of webinars and meetings and things, but we need to really change the system. We want change in the system. How can we do that? We need to find the way how to change the system. So I was telling about structural injustice that I was getting. The police dropped my case. Then I didn't have any choice. Where should I get my justice? I couldn't find any help. So luckily, I just been recognized after 3 years as a victim of slavery and trafficking by the Home Office. And suddenly, after I was being recognized, all my support, I used to have a caseworker. I used to get a little bit of extra money, which I used to go to see my son. I used to have mental health consultant. All is been stopped just last week, just suddenly. So you see the link, how hostile environment works. Once you recognize me as a victim of slavery and trafficking, you take away all the support from me. So what is happening now, what will be happening for the people like me, that leads me to the indirect slavery. That if I cannot have the money I need for everyday life and I'm not allowed to work and I have to live in 38 pounds a week, which is £5 a day. On top of that, I have to go to see my son every week, which I don't have the money for. I will obviously devote myself to find illegal work and enslave myself, which is indirect slavery, for £2 an hour, for £3 an hour. And what will happen next? Home Office will come and raid it and caught me and said, oh, you are not really, a dependable person, so we have to deport you. This is how you create a hostile environment in this country. But I feel really sad that most of the time people don't want to listen from us. It is the people who is in the big chairs, who is in the House of Lords, who is in the House of Commons. They don't want to listen from us. They just assume these people are good. Okay, they can't speak English. This is their second language. No, the time has changed. New generation has come. And we can talk in English. We can express what is happening with us. We know what is our rights are. Just telling me that you cannot do this, and this, that doesn't make any sense, because we know the law. We know what is human rights. We know how to get the education. We know how to contribute to the country. The world has changed a lot. Coronavirus has taught us so many stuff, how to be kind, how to be there for your community. But I don't think so our politicians has learned it yet. Just Priti Patel has announced an immigration policy recently. I was reading through all these things. I don't think so. She doesn't make any sense, or probably she is capable or compatible in her positions. I'm not really scared to criticize the system, because I'm a voter in this country, being a communal country national. I am a political party member. So if anyone tell me next time that, okay, you're an asylum seeker, you shouldn't talk about this country, I would tell them, shut up. This is my right. I can do that. And yes, if you have any questions, just telling me that, oh, you are staying in the government house, we are giving you a house, we are giving you, money to live in, you should be grateful. I am grateful. I'm not telling I'm not really grateful, but if you show us the homeless people, I will ask you, firstly, that you spending billions of pounds since 2015 to 2019, bombing the countries in Syria and Middle East. Can you not spend those money to house those homeless people in the country? And you are blaming me for that. If you don't bomb my country, I wouldn't be coming here. So there is a big politics around the immigration, and politicians are playing with the system, playing with the immigration, because this gives them votes, they give them mandates, this gives them votes from the racist people who really doesn't want any immigrants in here. Did they thought about it? If no immigrants stop coming in this country, how will be the economy of this country will be running? Who will run the taxi? Who will work on the corner shop or pizza shops? Who will be delivering your foods? Do they thought about it? Do they thought about Brexit? That 90% of the fruits and vegetables are coming from outside of this country? No, never. They don't think about it. If they thought about it, they will understand. This is the result. Exactly the result directly came during the pandemic, that the government is not prepared. The government doesn't know what to do. The government doesn't know the policies. The government doesn't know about their own people. They just want us to die. So I mean, this is what I make myself to say. There's a lot of others to say, but I have got other respective, um, uh, you know, um, speakers here. So I'll be happy to take questions, whoever it is there in the later on stage. But please, all my speaking is from my own. I didn't talk to hurt anyone here. I didn't talk anything about to hurt the systems. I have profound respect for the community, and I'm always there for my community. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, MD. What an inspirational contribution there. It really, really was. Um, you know, the horrific start that you had in the UK, yet you give so much back to this country, in your local community as well. Um, it's just absolutely amazing, and you're right. We do need to challenge the system. The system has to change. Um, yeah, absolutely inspired by that, MD. Thank you very much. And I feel for Martin, who has to try and follow that now. So, without further ado, I'll introduce Martin from the Communist Party.
Yes, thanks, Molly.
Um, just to point out a couple of things that I must say that one point is getting a British citizenship is one of the most expensive procedure in the world. Just to mention about it, that if you think it is really easy, no, and it takes years and years. So next thing is about education. Just to come back to that, I had a little history. I tell you quickly. In 2018, I got a study ban from Home Office when I applied for university because that time Teesside was giving first scholarship to the asylum seekers. So I literally challenged that decision. So I went to the High Court of Justice in London. The Home Office person told me that they need 2 more months to give answer. Why did they give me study ban? So I got my bail, but I lost my scholarship that year. But I took Home Office for judicial review. And through my case in 2018, I have established the right to access to higher education for all the asylum seekers in the UK. That was a huge success in 2018. That is the ultimate result of my campaign. Now, Northumbria University is giving 6 scholarships to the asylum seekers, and Newcastle is giving 3 scholarships. So there is 9 on place for the promising asylum seekers and the young asylum seekers to contribute for the country. Going back to the education again, you were mentioning Wolfsleven, that most of the students have been taken off because they don't have any status in this country. I have seen so many cases like that. Even you got scholarship, you're studying, they take you to detention and deport you straight away. And there is no more legal help and justice in that term. Young people, about how can we help them to engage with these things. What I find through my community engagement, young people do not like the politicians. This is true. They do not like the politicians in this country. The reason behind it is that the way they treat the people, the way they play the games, the young people like me, we have brain as well. We understand. We know what is happening, but we don't talk about it because we are not really interested. There is not really much interested people, young people in the politics. The reason behind is that we play dirty politics at this moment. It needs to be stopped. So what we can do to engage the children in the community, to engage I've seen so many, parents when I'm outside, they segregate their children, they separate their children with the black children. And this is what happening in the community still now in this country. So these kind of things needs to be identified and taken back to the school and give them the history lessons that what they did 200 years in Indian subcontinent, what they did in 200 years in African subcontinent. They need to know their stories, histories, and the bad past, what they have done to the people. Sir Winston Churchill, I don't say him sir, but I have to say it anyway. He talked about loss of people has died. My family was been died in 1947 famine, and he told my people that we breed like a rabbit. So this kind of racism was still there. So we have to teach our kids about that these things are not right. Then they understand, okay, they become humble. They want to know more about these things. They become humble with the people. But I think it's the ignorance. And the last things I will talk about quickly, that we don't challenge this racism most of the time because we don't know the clue. But if you know the clue, always challenge it. Tell them that, look, this is not right. This is the right thing. The way you are talking, the way you're going to NHS to get your medication, to get your medical help is done by the immigrants. It's done by the migrants. You need to respect them. You need to be there for them. So if you don't teach the children how to love your community, just to take from the community, it's never going to be happening. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, MD. And we'll move over to Martin now to have his response.